Let me just, I'll make sure everything's good. Yeah, okay. Alright, we good? Alright, 3, 2, 1, go. Alright, so this is Ouro in the Blind Forest. This is a game that came out just 2 months ago, or just about 2 months ago, I think 3 days shy or so. But it's, I guess the best thing I could say to summarize it is it's a Metroidvania game. And, you know, you get new upgrades and it allows you to do different stuff. So right away you're going to see me jumping a lot. This is a very minor thing throughout the run. It saves maybe like 15-20 seconds across the entire run just jumping as I'm moving. It's slightly faster. I save frames literally every single time I jump. It's just slightly faster. Nice, missing first jump. So, I guess the basic background of the story of this game, since I skipped the prologue, you're basically a little forest spirit that's kind of trying to restore the forest, and like all the light has been lost, and this owl has been screwing everything up. Alright, so now we got Sign, who is basically our ability to attack. By pressing X, I can shoot this little laser here, and it automatically homes in on enemies and any other thing that it would be able to hit. And right there on those enemies, I was very carefully timing my shots, just so that I don't trigger the cooldown. Basically, if I do like 2 attacks quickly, there's a short little cooldown before I can attack again. So enemies that require an odd number of hits to kill, it's faster to kind of alternate my shots like that. There is a level up system in this game that's denoted on that little circle at the bottom there. When that meter fills, I get a level, and I can use those levels to get different abilities. There's like a little talent tree type thing. And I want to be very carefully monitoring my experience and trying to level up at very specific times, because when I do level up, you get kind of a screen clearing little explosion thing that kills every enemy that's on screen, and it's very useful in a lot of places. Alright, so we get our first health upgrade there. I'm going to be getting one more later on in the run. You need to have 5 health for the 80% route, because there's one trick that requires you to take 4 damage. So we want to obviously be able to survive that.
Yeah, I didn't want this equal.
One thing I guess I should note now is the route I'm using for this game right now is actually fairly new and was enabled by a patch that's not even a week old at this point. This game, ever since it came out, has been extremely active, and the route for almost this entire 2 months has changed at least once a week, if not every few days. This game is... There was a point like a month ago where we were kind of suspecting that even sub 1 hour would be hard, and now we're at times that look like 36s and 37s. Alright, so what I just did there is called a save glitch. Basically, if you lay down a save point and then start a cutscene, and then trigger a save in some way, either by reusing the save point, which is an ability we'll get later, or spending an ability point, and saving the game again while I'm in the cutscene, and then I quit and reload the game, it puts me back in the cutscene, but I'm able to move again, so I can move while the cutscene is playing. And that's used a lot throughout the run. That was like one of the first major pieces of tech we found. Alright, a little damage boost there. And the ability point that I took when I leveled up off of that tree there, when I did the save glitch, allows me to basically gravitate pickups, so I don't really have to try to pick stuff up anymore. It'll just kind of home in on me, which is very nice. The rest of my level ups are going to be aimed towards getting triple jump as fast as possible, because triple jump allows us to get around more easily, and it's required for the same trick that I needed to have 5 health for. Alright, what I just did there is I picked up 3 of the 4 keys I needed to open that door that are in this room, and then I killed myself while the keys were still in the door, but I was close enough that I could still put the keys in the door. So what that does is it caused me to go back to my save point with those 3 keys still, and now I'm able to pick them back up again. So I essentially just duplicated 3 keys, and this saves us a little bit of time later on. Just because there's other keys that you would otherwise have to get that are slower. So now we're going to pick up the 4 keys and open the door normally. Alright, there's a trick coming up that I'm actually not doing. It's one of the most notorious tricks in the game. It's called Iceless, because it's very similar to a trick in Mega Man X. That the jump looks very similar. You kind of jump around a ledge and are able to wall jump to somewhere that you're not able to get, or not supposed to be able to get to. But it's really picky and it changes the route a lot, and I haven't really messed with the route in a while, so we're going to be not messing with it for safety. It saves about 1:40 if you get it quickly. But a lot of races for this game have basically just boiled down to, oh, who got Iceless first, and it's kind of silly. But it's just the nature of the trick. Alright, so we're just going to drive this tree normally. We're not going to do a save glitch off of it, because we don't have an ability point to spend, and we not yet have the ability to reuse save points. I guess I never brought it up, but the first tree that I triggered the save glitch off of gave us the ability to wall jump, and that tree that I just got gave us a like charge shot type attack with sign that's used to break these little blue things, and it's also our best source of damage. The third tree, like as far as the talent tree in this game, is entirely like damage and combat oriented, but we're going to be entirely skipping that tree because we really don't need it. Almost every single enemy we have to fight has projectiles that we can deflect with the charge shot, and that ends up doing way more damage than your regular attacks would do. So we're going to get another level up here to kill that spider and those little spiky blobs there. And being very meticulous about the experience I pick up, for basically the first half of the run, there's a trick in a little bit that requires me to have a very precise amount of experience, so there's like a 45 experience point window or so, and it's pretty tight, but usually it's pretty consistent, so we'll try to get it. Oh, that's bad. Okay. Alright, so we're gonna do the save glitch here. And the talent point I just took allows us to resave off of save points we've already placed, which is the main way we're going to be triggering save glitches from now on. So this section I'm actually doing blind since the cutscene stays on, you know, where the cutscene is playing. There are a couple more sections that I'll have to do blind coming up that are a lot more difficult than that one. That one you can kind of just keep jumping and you're fine. Alright, so we're gonna get another level up here. And one more save glitch. And the other thing about these save glitches is that it prevents, like, triggers that the cutscene would cause. So usually Gumo that little guy up there, comes down and closes the door here. But since we did a save glitch to the cutscene, it just isn't closed. One more save glitch here. This one prevents a bunch of lasers from spawning here. There's usually just a bunch of big death lasers that instantly kill you here. So right here we're going to see the first benefit of that key duplication that I did. Normally you're supposed to go down in that room with that little pushy block thing and go fight a mini-boss for a key, and then grab a key that's directly beneath me right now. But we're just going to grab that second key and start opening this door right away since we have keys still. And we can grab this one without basically losing no time, just because the door is opening for a lot of the time that we're doing that. Alright, another save glitch off of this tree. Take a talent point that allows us to heal whenever I lay a save point, which is kind of nice to have. Okay, I think I made that. Nice, okay. So that section there, I basically just like make the jump over that first gap and then count to about 4 and make another double jump. And usually it makes the gap, but if I mess up, I land in the poison water and take some unnecessary damage. And it's slow. These platforms like to move around a lot randomly. It's annoying. Okay, nice. That little wall jump there saves about a minute. Usually I have to go off to the left and do a bunch of little puzzles, but you can just skip all that. This save glitch, usually this little kind of climb here, there's a bunch of boulders falling down, but since the save glitch skips triggers like that, we are completely safe. One more save glitch. These first like 15 minutes or so of the run are really save glitch heavy, just because there's a lot of cutscenes. Alright, so now we have the water vein, which opens up the first dungeon of the game, the Ginso tree, which is really the only dungeon of the game of the 3 in the game that the speedrun even sees. The second one we skip entirely, and then the third one we go into and then skip it. But the second one we don't even have to go into at all. so this is the last health upgrade of the run, since we only need 5. And we're gonna go enter the Ginso tree. Alright, one more save glitch to skip this, like, door opening cutscene. That's bad. These platforms can be really finicky if they decide to move around a bunch. Okay, there we go. Okay, that was weird. Alright, in this room you're intended to move this little block around and do this long convoluted thing of redirecting projectiles, but we're just gonna shoot this projectile right where we need it to go and mess up. Severely. That should be good. Nice. Alright, so this is the first mini-boss. These mini-bosses are pretty uninteresting. They just move around and shoot projectiles at you. Ideally, we want to just reflect 2 projectiles at him to finish him off, but we didn't get good RNG as far as where he went, so we got a slow fight. Alright, since we already have 4 keys because of the dupe, we're going to start opening this door and then grab these other 2 keys while it's opening. Alright, now we're going to guess the best ability in the game, which is Bash. And what that allows us to do is basically just bash off of stuff. It just gives us a little speed boost off of almost anything in the environment or enemies. And it's very useful for going around fast. And it's just really fun to use. Most people that play this game casually, like, the very first thing they, like, geek out about is Bash. And it's also useful for reflecting projectiles. That one should make it. Nope. My first playthrough of this game took about 7.5 hours to, like, completely 100% everything. And that's sounds about typical from what I've heard of people. If you rush through the game, you can probably beat it about 4 or 5 your first time through. Yeah, the developers for this game have actually been really supportive of everything. And actually the most recent patch they did was actually to our benefit directly. Like, it even says in the patch notes, we fixed this for speedrunners. And they've been really good about, like, talking to us about, like, stuff that we want fixed or things that shouldn't be fixed or things like that. So it's been really cool to see. I was saying earlier, this route was actually enabled by a patch within like a week ago. Basically, there's an ability later that if you got it before another ability, it would completely lock your ability to jump, which kind of stifled our route options a bit. But they actually fixed that bug, so the route that you're going to be seeing right now is basically, well, the end of the game really is going to be thanks in part to that. So we're going to drag this frog in here, and then we're going to level up off of this. And what that's going to do is going to clear the corruption on both sides of the tree at once, completely skipping the room on the right side. And there's a 45 experience window to get that level up there. And the save glitch I just did there is actually a couple seconds slower, but it makes this section infinitely safer because usually there's water chasing you here, and it rubber bands pretty hard, but the save glitch completely skips it from triggering, so we don't have any water to worry about. Like, that mess up right there would have just killed me if I didn't deactivate the water. Sometimes the menu puts your cursor in weird places, so if you try to menu too quickly, it just puts it in random places. Alright, so this is the last place the key duplication will be useful. We have 2 keys right now, which allows us to just open that door to the right of us right away. Usually there's this little underwater section you have to do, and it's slow, so you can just skip it. Alright, so now we get Stomp, which is essentially just a ground pound. It's not super useful. It's good for making descents faster and breaking through stuff below us, but we don't use it too much. If we're lucky, that Piranha will be up a little bit higher so we can bash off of him. It saves like a second or so. Not even. Yeah, when the game originally came out, a lot of people were kind of up in the air about whether keyboard and mouse or controller would be like easier to use or faster or whatever. Pretty much the consensus now is that controller is better. The main thing is if you're bashing off screen, it's really hard to, like, you really can't do it with a mouse and keyboard. And there are certain tricks that just are really hard to do with like mouse and keyboard movement. Bashes are really accurate with a mouse though, that's like the one big thing. There's still a little bit of preference to it. I do know there are still runners who use mouse and keyboard, but most people use controller now. Alright, we're coming up on another blind section from a save glitch. There's actually a way to not do this blind now, but One, I haven't practiced it that much because it's fairly new, and doing it blind is just cooler, so we're going to do it blind. I think that made it. Nice. So we basically went through that entire room while that cutscene was still playing. Alright, so now we're doing a bit of backtracking to where we need to go now. And just on our way through, we're going to be collecting a bunch of ability cells, so we have enough levels to get triple jump when we need it. Grab this just to be safe. You're supposed to have a move that lets you do charge jumps off walls to break that little thing, but you can just stomp on top of that bird to break it, which is pretty cool. Alright, so now we're going to grab triple jump. And now we're set on level ups for the rest of the game. That's the last one we needed. Alright, so now we're going to get Kuro's Feather, which is just one of this owl's feathers, which allows us to glide. Basically works like the Deku Leaf in like Wind Waker.
Best time already under 40 minutes, right?
Yeah, the best time now is the 36 something. So yeah, it's gotten pretty low pretty quickly. Pretty much every single time we think we're kind of getting close to like a final route or getting it optimized, we just find something new. I guess it's kind of the nature of the game being new and all. Nice, we got that first try. That was originally one of the hardest tricks in the game until we found other stuff that made it look really easy in comparison. But that trick is, I guess, I call it Windless. A lot of people have a lot of different names for it. A lot of people call it Sorrow Bash, like Forlorn Ruin Skip. No one can decide on what to call it. But basically, you're supposed to go off to the left and you're supposed to do an entire dungeon before you come here and trigger some wind to activate, which allows you to get in here. But by doing some like weird bashes off birds and manipulation of them, you can get through. And you need triple jump to get through there, as well as 5 health, just so you can take the damage from one hit of the spikes. You're supposed to go through a door and deactivate, or come through here a different way, but you can just kind of glide through there and you're good. You can bash this little gap. Alright, and because we skipped an ability that we're actually going to go back for later, we need to juggle this frog up into this room here, so we're going to hopefully not mess this up. And we did. It's fine. Okay, that should be a good angle. And we actually had to make a weird rule regarding this trick. The game sucks at despawning enemies, like, just is absolutely awful at it, especially in certain areas. This frog, since it's obviously not supposed to be up here, doesn't like to despawn. So every single time you do an attempt, basically, that gets this far, you have to completely, like, exit out the game to get him to despawn. Even between save files, he'll still be there. And we actually had to make the rule that you cannot have an extra frog up there, because that would essentially just mean you don't have to juggle him up there. Alright, so now we're going to get Charge Jump. Originally, getting this ability before Climb, which is an ability we don't have yet, would completely lock your ability to jump, but they patched that recently, pretty much just for us. Which allows us to do this route that gets it first. We're still going to be getting Wall Climb, but later, since the area that you get it in is a lot faster with Charge Jump. And Climb doesn't really help you too much here. Alright, so now we're going to get the item that unlocks the final dungeon. We're not going to go straight there yet, because we have to go get Wall Climb for the skip that allows us to skip the entire last dungeon. But we're at least unlocking the ability to go there. Then at this point of the game, cutscenes become unskippable, so we can just get comfy and watch this cutscene. Every other cutscene before this you can skip, but for whatever reason, the ones for the remainder of the game you can't. So since we skipped the prologue and everything, this is gonna really make no sense, and this is spoilers whether you know it or not. You're welcome. I'm surprised I got that one blind section first try, because I usually like have a lot of audio cues for it, but I couldn't hear a single one. Alright, so now we actually get to play the game again? Alright, so now we're going to head into one of my personal favorite areas of the game that one of the alternate routes for any percent doesn't actually do. But the route that gets Charge Jump and Climb does do it, so it's part of the reason I do this route. The two routes aren't too different as far as speed now. So I'm going to grab the save point over here just to heal since I took some unnecessary damage there. It's very easy to die almost anywhere in Misty Woods, so you want to make sure you're topped off usually. But usually you're supposed to come here and do the second dungeon before that area that I just did. So we have Charge Jump when we're not supposed to, which will lead to some fun stuff. And a cool little thing with bash is that if you release the input for the direction that you're bashing, like right as the bash happens, you maintain all momentum from the bash. So that allows for some kind of silly momentum stuff. Gliding also helps you maintain that momentum a lot easier as well. So if you see me gliding really fast, that's why. Which is going to happen a lot here, and actually just a lot for the rest of the run. So usually the entire reason you come in here is to get that item that the cutscene just showed, which opens the second dungeon, but we don't need that. We're literally just here for wall climb. This is actually coming through here the back way. You used to have to bash that frog down there and use one of his projectiles to break that. But now we have charge jump, so we can just charge jump straight through it. Which made this area a lot smoother, I guess. Alright, so now we have wall climb, which is a little bit useful. It's not super useful. The main use for it is allowing us to charge jump off of walls. There's a platform puzzle in this room, but we can just charge jump right over it. Oh, okay. Oh, scary. Alright, usually you're supposed to go around to the right here and do a bunch of puzzly stuff, but we can just bash off of him and skip it all. Alright, so we have one more mini-boss here. Like I said, pretty much every single mini-boss is just a random worm enemy that spits at you. Except these jump. And we can just use charge jump to reflect his projectiles. That was actually a really slow fight. Ideally, you can kill each one of them with a single charge jump, but each one of those took 2. Alright, so now we open this door literally just to trigger the exit tip here. We don't actually need to pick up this item since we don't need to enter the second dungeon. So we just need to enter the room and leave. Alright, so now we're going to head to the last dungeon now that we have everything that we need. Save here just in case. There isn't too much that can go wrong as far as killing me, but better safe than sorry. Alright, here we go. Mount Ouro. So we're basically going to go straight to the top of this area and do one trick, and then this area is going to be done. Basically, there's another escape sequence like there was at the Ginso tree. Every dungeon has its own escape sequence. This escape sequence is always loaded. It's just part of this map. So you can basically just go out of bounds and go straight to it. Alright, one more unskippable cutscene.
Is this supposed to be like a climax?
Yeah. And sadly you're not going to see like 80% of the last escape sequence either, since the out of bounds puts you right at the end of it. Basically this room has a bunch of like puzzles that you have to do that drain the lava, and then you go to the bottom and then there's like one last escape sequence, but we don't do any of that. Nice, okay. There's like 2 pixels where Ori's hitbox can clip through that branch and shoot you all the way up there. But now we're in the final escape sequence, and we're right at the end of it actually, so... Okay, well, that's fine. I was a little slow getting there, so Kuro killed me. That's alright though. There's a bit of RNG to where these meteors drop, so you can't necessarily prepare for them. But yeah, that's essentially the game. We just have one little cutscene here, and then we're done. Yeah, time is coming up. Like 40 seconds. 40 seconds to a minute.
That was probably the best run marathon so far.
That was actually really solid, I have to say. There's Tony's speedrunner achievement. Yeah, there's an achievement for beating the game in like under 3 hours or something like that. So we beat it by just a little bit. Just a little bit. Alright, time's coming up in like 5 seconds here. And time.
Is that a new PB?
By a second.
Nice.
That was a really solid run though, so I'm happy with that.